In this video, I'll show you how to tie a simple bracelet with a heart pattern. For this, you need a tape measure, scissors, a sticky tape and thread in 2 different colors. First, you cut 80 centimeters or 30 inches long threads. 4 threads in the background color and 4 in the color of the hearts. I like to use pearl cotton size 5, but you can use other yarn as well. Place the ends of the threads exactly on top of each other and knot them together at about 10 centimeters or 4 inches from their ends. Tape your threads on a table at the height of the knot you just made. Then place the threads in a certain order. On the outside comes the background color, which is blue for me, then the heart color, which is pink for me, then blue and pink again. In the middle, the colors are reflected. So next again, pink, blue, pink, blue. Here I have already tied the first little heart. Now you start with the thread on the far left. This is your active thread. With this one, you tie a forward knot over the thread next to it, that is, you place a 4 over the pink thread, go into the opening from the bottom and tighten the knot. Then you tie a backward knot, that is, you place a side inverted 4 over the same thread, go into the opening from the bottom and tighten the knot. It is important that you tighten the knot only with the active thread. You do the same with the thread on the far right, but reflected. First you tie a backward knot, that is a side inverted 4 over the thread next to it, and then a forward knot, a 4, over the same thread. Now tie 2 forward knots with the inner blue thread on the left, the third thread from the left, over the thread next to it on the right. With the reflected blue thread, the third from the right, tie 2 backward knots over the thread next to it on the left. Remember to always tighten the knots with the active thread. Now the 2 blue threads are in the middle. Tie them together with 2 forward knots. The blue threads are now all the way out and all the way in the middle. Continue tying with the outer pink thread on the left and tie 2 forward knots over each of the 2 threads on the right. You do the same with the pink thread on the right, but reflected. With this one, you tie 2 backward knots over each of the 2 threads on the left. Now the 2 pink threads are in the middle. Tie them together with 2 forward knots. In between, I put the threads back in the right order. Continue with the outer pink thread on the left. You make 2 backward knots over the outermost blue thread. Do the same with the outer pink thread on the right, but reflected. 2 forward knots over the outermost thread. Using the outer blue thread on the left, tie 2 forward knots over each of the 2 threads on the right. And with the outer blue thread on the right, tie 2 backward knots over each of the threads on the left. Now the 2 blue threads are in the middle. Tie them together with 2 forward knots. With the outer pink thread on the left, tie 2 forward knots over each of the 3 threads on the right. And with the outer pink thread on the right, tie 2 backward knots over each of the 3 threads on the left. The 2 pink threads are now in the middle. Tie them together with 2 forward knots. Now you can see that the first heart is knotted. Only the background color is missing. Using the blue thread on the outside left, tie a forward knot and a backward knot over the thread next to it. With the second blue thread from the left, first tie a backward knot and then a forward knot over the pink thread next to it on the left. On the right side you make the same but reflected. With the thread on the outside right, you make a backward knot and a forward knot over the thread next to it. With the second blue thread from the right, make a forward knot and then a backward knot over the pink thread next to it on the right. The heart is now finished. The thread should now be in the same order as at the beginning. The pattern starts over again with the blue thread on the outside left. When the bracelet is long enough to fit around your wrist, you can make a knot again with all the threads and cut them off after about 10 cm or 4 inches. If you like, you can braid the threads at the beginning and at the end.